Evening, yeah. Wrong. Where's my cogs? Evening. Let me just get these on, and then we will be underway, baby. We'll get into the parish notes in just a second. I just want to do this so I know what I'm doing. And that. Lovely. Right, that's that, and that's that, and that's that. Right, lovely. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind live number 223. Good to see lots of people in the Body of the Kirk so far this evening. Is it Wednesday tonight? Yeah. Hang on a second, where are we? We're 2 weeks away from our third birthday. Our third birthday is actually on one of the live nights. It's on September 3rd. So we started the channel September the 3rd, 2022. That's that. That's lovely. Got me fan going. Brilliant. Dear. There is something going around. Not that I'm, offering it to anybody, but there's a bit of a cough going round. I mean, it's August, for goodness sake. Surely we should be in rude health. Does that look right to you? Hang on a second. Let's have a. No, that one. There we go. You should be able to see all of me creases. Des Ashton's in the Body of the Kirk. Howdy, folks. Does anyone know what the actual is going on away from here? All I see or hear is total and utter shite. Yeah. Have you noticed how the news is not really the news anymore? It's just kind of showbiz gossip and, political chaos. Have you noticed that? It's not chaos, Adrian. It's planned. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk, Des. Neil Cunningham says, good evening all. I've brought my own cushion tonight. The pews were so bad last night. My backside looks like the flag of Japan. Oh, I say. So we have got extra piles cushions in the Body of the Kirk this evening, because I understand people are beginning to feel the hardness of the pews. And it's, hardness on your derriere. That's why they call it the Starmer. Or the Starmers. Neil also continues, if this goes. Bloody hell. Bloody thing. Sandra Whittam. Hello, Sandra. It's Wednesday evening, so we're not too far away from our next match. Who have you got? I mean, you and the Wednesday at the bottom. What's going on, Sandra? How are you, man? I do believe that the manager that you had last season actually was the best for you. So I don't know. I do keep an eye on the blades, Sandra. But bottom of the league, what's going on, man? It's only one match. I know it's only one match. Andy B, in bed, ready for the Rev to educate me, if you excuse the expression. Oh, I say, Andrew. What can I say? Des Ashton Rhinosaurus. Oh, I say. Young Des. You've got Millwall at home. Oh, should be all right for you. I mean, Millwall. Hello, Robbie. Hello, Darren. Robbie, fucking who? Hi, Newkie. I'm not from Newcastle, man. I see you. You can't be. And actually, if you're talking to a local, it's a bottle of the dog. It's not Newkie. Although there might be some brown stuff this evening, from what I can understand. I say, lots and lots. Neil Cunningham has said, this Friday marks a very dark date here in Liverpool. Rhys Jones, 2007, aged 11, and Olivia Pratt-Corbell, 22, aged 9. Both innocently and tragically taken by lowlifes. May they rest in peace. I agree wholeheartedly, Neil. recreational gear is a scourge on humanity, but loads of people are doing it, man. Loads. Evening fatal racing driver, thank you for your email. I managed a quick look before I came on air this evening, so I will have a look once the live is finished, but brilliant, thank you very much. Stuart says, evening Rev, I've got my piles cushion this evening. All I need is some Battenberg and it will be smelling quite fragrant. Well, it's the hardness of the pews, young Stuart. And don't forget the altar wine. The altar wine helps the Battenberg to go down rather well. But welcome to the body of the kirk, young sir. P.S. Adrian, I have... Oh, right, okay. Hang on. I've got another email. Brilliant. Look forward to it, Fatal Racing Driver. Look forward to it. Welcome to the body of the kirk, young Les. He says the sidelining of a UK Prime Minister by the American President shows just how low Britain has sunk on the world stage. Bit like the Titanic, Les. I think he's rearranging the chairs currently. He's not going much further, that's for sure. I believe he'll be gone by the Labour Party conference in Liverpool. Les also says, when I moved to my present home 5 years ago, nearly every pub and small business was festooned with rainbow flags. They are long gone. Why? That's Les asking the why. Because locals shopped and supped elsewhere. Correct. Everybody's voting with their feet now. So go woke, go broke. As lots of businesses have found out subsequently. Because it's just let the customer decide. The customer's always right. And I mean, I have nothing against rainbows. They look rather beautiful in the sky. And I have no truck whatsoever with people and their sexual predilection. They can do whatever they want. Consensual, behind closed doors, wonderful. I just don't want to see fat lads in next and out wobbling along the street. That means that Durham Pride's gone. I'd rather go to Durham Big Meat, but I'm not a size queen. Big Meat, as in MEET, before anybody starts cracking the gags. Neil says, I see Britain's railways are 200 years old, as most of the trains that run on them. Very good, Neil. Very good. A migrant from Mali has set fire to a check-in desk at Milan Airport. His room in a hotel in Canary Wharf is being readied as we speak. Yeah, we'll get rid of them and just shove them over here. Well, they do say that, but in Epping, it's not going so well for them, is it? Napoleon Bonaparte, I hope you and the new Mrs. Rev are well. Damn! I forgot my pal's pillow. Cushion, not pillow. Cushion, Napoleon Bonaparte. It's like a donut. You sit in the middle so your piles don't hurt after the operation, but you can have some comfort. Looks like I'm sitting on Battenberg tonight. I'm up and ready for a roaring sermon. Oh, we've got one of those for you this evening. I see well-known YouTubers with a large following celebrating the closure of a Migrant hotel. Why? All it shows is hotels in decent areas being shut and the problem moved to a less affluent area. I know. And then these hotel firms will be belly aching to the government because the government gave them a guarantee. Oh, we can give you the taxpayers' money. You know, the money that we rob from the poor to give to the rich. Exactly. So we'll just give you some of that. They won't care. Well, look, we're giving $3 billion a year for the next 100 years to Ukraine, just so other people can create NGOs and fill their arse pocket full of our taxes. Is that the politicians by any chance, young Reverend? Have you noticed how Starmer's been a little on the Q side since he was in Washington, D.C. on Monday? That's because of body clocks. So he'll have flown, whether he stayed there and decided to go and see if he can find the four tops, or if it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. He's a little gagging for a bit of Fun Boy 3. Neil says, at least it's showing that Starmer can't silence everyone with his authoritarian dictatorship style of governing. Alison says, I heard that they are all going to be shut down as the judge that ordered it has set a precedent and seemed it illegal to house the little darlings. I'm just going to... no. Interesting. Oh, back. Press the wrong button. Do you know, I've barely started and it started wobbling. Tom Harney's evening all. Sorry, Alison, I do apologise. Welcome to the body of the kirk. And if you are having a small libation of the altar wine, please allow a small tincture for everyone else. But there's plenty of Battenberg. It'll make everything smell a little more fragrant. So welcome to the body of the kirk, and everyone who may be a first timer. Always pop your cherry. Always welcome newbies. Tom Harney's evening all, as a wrong'un philosopher once said, people of this United Kingdom, with your heads held high and shoulder to shoulder, keep your Battenberg held aloft whilst parting yourself in freedom. Freedom. To freedom, not in freedom. Tom, I think we might have been on the wrong side of Battenberg there. Andy B, evening one and all from down here in a sunny but chilly Kent. Is that Kent or Kent? Hello, fellow communicants. Bloody hell, Darren. Large word for a Wednesday evening. What? Evening, Andy. Evening, Darren. Evening, Neil. I think I had a dream about Keir Starmer. I swear to God, I think I had a dream about Keir Starmer this morning. And it went something along the lines of, I was listening to him do a speech, and somebody next to me says, do you think he sounds like a robot? And I was like, yeah, he does a bit. They say every time I hear him, I switch off because he's just dull. And there you go. There's Neil Cunningham saying roughly the same thing. Why is it whenever I hear Starmer do, emphasis on the wrong syllable, comma, do I think he sounds like the computerized voice used by Stephen Hawking when he took ill? Brilliant. Well, Stephen Hawking was on Epstein Island, of course. You remember? All zippy off rainbow, Neil, says Alison. Interesting. So every time I hear the word rainbow, as in the TV series, and zippy, I always think, and bungle, I always think of, well, they did an episode all about Zippy's wanger, and it was filth. As an adult, you watch it and you go, how did they get away with that? Because the children are innocent. They have no idea what a wanger is until you get older. I see you, Andy B. I had to put a jumper on today. Summit is dying. I'm with you. I think everybody. Elucidate. I see you, elucidate. What? Tom Harney's crunchy or smooth, Les? Both. Just depends how long it's been in there. Sorry. Les says, I left a comment about peanut butter last night. Turns out it's true. It's a bit like Guinness. Well, you know what Guinness does, don't you? Turns it black. Crunchy or smooth, Les? Does one like it crunchy or does one like it smooth? Right, it's 7:30. Thank you to everyone for your comments in the welcome to the body of the kirk. Les Griffiths, still no explanation about Starmer's cut lips. On a totally unrelated subject, Sadiq has stopped wearing trousers with zips and now uses buttons. Does he? Surely he can't do that. Adrian, do you need to lay off the altar wine if you're dreaming about Starbucks? Well, more a nightmare, Neil, to be fair. But I have got double hibiscus this evening. Double. So that'll keep me going. Garen Davis, Rainbow does Top Gear. Ooh, is that on YouTube? If Starmer is a robot, he's Bender from Futurama. Stuart, that is very funny. That is proper funny. Bungle is Starmer's dad, says DC. And Matthew says, I can't stop laughing. If Starmer is a robot, he's Bender from Futurama. Does Hawking keep his hands to himself? He's got no choice. Don't. Obviously, I am going down a route I can't go down in there, and I can't let it come out of there, otherwise I will be taken off air. Friction burns Starmer's lips. Well, I don't know whether it's AI. I don't know whether it's been done. Sandra's talking about the blades. No ideas why they got shut of Wilder. But I think this guy's got a week, or is weak. Oh, Jeffrey, Robbie. Smash them likes, wrongers. Yes, as Des says, please. We've got quite a few with their feet in the pews under the font, and anywhere there may be a libation or three to be had. Sister Mary has said it's too cold. She's had to stay indoors this evening because, well, she was very honest and frank with me. She said, look, Reverend, it's so cold, my nipples are sticking out so hard that if I walk down the street, I'm going to key everybody's cars. So I said, Sister Mary, I think it's right and Reverend that you stay indoors. But if you could sort of put the hot water on, or put the urn on, and then, well, maybe people might want a hot drink this evening. I did say to Sister Mary, I've got an idea, Sister Mary. And she says, what's that, Reverend? I says, well, we can give everybody, as they come into the body of the kirk, we can give them a cup of Horlicks. And she said, what a lovely idea. Do you know, Rev, that they've got Horlicks tablets back on sale? I said, I do, Sister Mary, I do. I used to enjoy them as a boy. And I said, why don't we offer everyone a Viagra tablet? And Sister Mary says, why would we do that? I says, well, obviously the Horlicks will give everyone an opportunity just to be a little more dozy and comfortable and floaty, so they'll go straight to sleep when they get to bed. And she said, what's the Viagra tablet for? I says, just to stop them rolling out of bed when they get home. Nipple, Neil Cunningham. Obviously, the first time I look at the comments and all I see is nipples like a welder's thumb, says Neil. Reg D. Hey, you didn't have a dream. You had a nightmare about two-tier, free gear, queer as folk, Starmer. I don't think he's woken up. Evening, Nicky. Welcome to the body of the kirk. Welcome, Chapel Hat Pegs. I know, Tess. I know. Albert. Where's Albert gone? Albert Metcalf. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's an old gag, Aiden. It's an old gag, but it's one of those gags that I enjoy. So, welcome to the body of the kirk this evening. Let me have a look at what is going on with the Simon. Let's have a look at this. What's that? Oh, right, okay. So, welcome to Live 223. What am I going to talk about in the sermon this evening? Not only do human beings have the luxury of shoveling shit down their throat and then having the fat jabs, now the fat jabs are coming for your pets. I'll explain in just a little while. The first thing that we're kind of going to get into, Ian McGee, run faster with 3 legs, Adrian. I know. Get me home quicker. I am going to ask you, and you can think about this until I ask you, because then when I ask you, you can put it in the comments. Who was your music pin-up? Your rock and roll, baby, pin-up when you were a teenager? I think pin-ups will have gone by the time you're in your 20s. But I'm going to ask you, and I'll tell you who mine was. 2 of them. Trump and Zelensky. No more wars. No more wars. What the bloody hell do you mean? I've spotted something that everybody else missed because Sniffy was wearing a suit. So everybody focused on Sniffy wearing a suit. But what they should have focused on was what I'm going to tell you in just a minute. There's been a Labour MSP charged over indecent images. Have you seen that headline just before we came on air? Yeah. What? Oh, that's why it hasn't. So we'll talk about the government migrant hotel that's been. It's their policy's kind of gone. Rachel from accounts, the snake. Well, I tell you what she's going to do. I've told her she's going to bend you over. Put a strap on, because Danny Minogue, Andrew James, oi, Deanna Durbin. Will you wait when we get there? Because we're going to go off early. Louise Hampson. Wow, all sex mad. I know. And Labour. So we will get to that. Dusty Springfield. Oh, she had a voice. On a different bus, though, Des. And Wendy James of Transvision Vamp. That's what the players run out to. At Stadium Light. So Rachel from accounts, she's a snake. I'm telling you, she's a snake. And from WEF, World Economic Forum, unhealthy is the new healthy. I kid you not. The AI bubble burst. I'm going to give you some news tonight from quite a large organisation. Then we're going to get into some quickies because I want to get them on your radar. And then we'll talk about Elon Musk. Have you not noticed he's gone a bit Q? Quiet. So where's Elon gone? What's he up to? I'm going to tell you. And what the press isn't telling you. Hang on. Right, okay. Let me just make sure that my aim is true and I'm on the case. So that, in essence, is what we're going to talk about tonight. And if I can fit anything else in, and we might go off on little tangents, but yes, we will go for it. So, seen as you are, oh, I say, John Wayne is big leggy, Paul Moulton, the girl from Hazy Fantasy. I remember. TMG, surely, if a Horlicks, it will also have the same effect. Really, TMG? Is that what Horlicks does for you? I'll buy you 3 packets of tablets, cheaper than Viagra. Evening all, ya wrong'uns. Louise Hampson is in the body of the Kirk. Napoleon blown apart. I had a picture of Dusty Springfield on my wall. Sadly, Napoleon blown apart. That beehive was hiding stuff. A bit like Amy Winehouse. But she was on the other bus, darling. But nice to look at. Look, there's nothing wrong with eye candy. Susanna Hoffs. Let me just hold that thought for 30 seconds. Neil Cunningham, you're wrong. So I'm going to, the Hoffs, NB Media. The Hoffs. Was that Susanna? Or, I think everybody's gone a bit Susanna Hoffs mad. Susanna, offshore from the Bangles. NB Media, Aidan Wellsmith. Colin Smith, number 600 on my list of bad politicians. Oh, right, okay. We're talking eye candy now, Aidan. Les Griffiths. Oh, Stevie Nicks. Well, I never. Well, I didn't, actually. But got to be Gloria Crash the Van. Oh, Bad Wolf Project. Interesting. I did meet her once in Miami. We were flown out there to do John Cicada, interview him at his private beach. He's not short of a bobble three, is young John. Gloria Crash the Van. Hang on, TMG is with Les, whatever Les has said. Also, Ace Frehley from Kiss as my wall. I tried to get my hair like his, even in 2000. Nice, Andrew. Dave Johnston. Is it Johnston with an E, but it's Johnson without the E. Evening, Dave. Anyway, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Wendy James and Belinda Carlisle. Interesting, Garen. Elkie Brooks. Big sigh from Les. Great voice as well, as was Wendy James. There's a lot of votes for Wendy James coming in this evening. And Belinda Carlisle. Susie Quattro, Aidan Wellsmith, Karina Jane, Just Another Day. How's that for a pop song, Karina? What? I met him in Birmingham and I was there. This is going to sound really Johnny Big Bollocks, and I don't mean it to. But I was given a stretch limo for the evening. Whilst I was in Birmingham, so kind of pulled up outside. It was a sound party, so all the usual reprobates piled in. Free beer, free food. John comes out, sings a few songs for the radio luminaries, and I got talking to him, and I said, "Look, I've got a stretch outside. Do you want to ride around Birmingham?" And he was like, "Oh," I say, "Why?" He said, "I can't. I wish he told me earlier, and I would have done." And then when I met him in Miami at his home, I said, "John, can you remember the guy in Birmingham that offered you a tour of Birmingham in a stretch?" He went, "Oh, that was you." I said, "Yeah, we meet again." Bad Wolf Project says Belinda Carlisle likes sniffing marching powder. She did, big time. Right, Alan's nailed one of mine, so to speak. Unfortunate turn of phrase, Adrian. Hang on a second. Hang on. I've got to ask this. Aidan Wellsmith says, next, it'll be Which of Pan's People. I think we might keep that one for Sunday, Aidan. I'd never thought of that one, but I always like all of them. Rich says, Claire Grogan, she was gorgeous. She also starred in Gregory's Girl, and she was gorgeous in Gregory's Girl. I want the girls to, because I think the way that pop music was set up, it was set up for the girls, like the hormonal teenagers. Because I remember doing a gig with Take That in Leeds. It was at the Hedgerow, and they said to me, "Big Babs from Pan's People, Chris, hobba hobba, hobba hobba." So the people from the radio station, I was doing Drive, and we got them to take that before they kind of took off. It was literally within weeks before they took off massive, and we had the mayoress of Leeds and all that kind of malarkey. So we thought one of the lads from the radio station said, "Look, we're going to take that out, but they're a little worried." And I said, "Why? It's all right. I'm here. I'll be gentle with them." He said, "No. Have you not seen all the schoolgirls? The schoolgirls are arriving en masse, and they're afraid that they're just going to storm the stage." So I was like, "Oh, all right then. Well, we'll get the interview, and we'll do 5 minutes, and then we'll go to a song, and then into the news. Blah 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 blah." Anyway, the lads came out, and it was Robbie and it was Gary, and the other three were kind of waving and doing all the other bits and pieces to the girls, and then these pubescent females, 13, 14-year-old, the hormones must have just got tight hold of them, and they literally stormed the stage. And I could see, I was interviewing sort of Gary and Robbie, and but I could see this look of fear in their eyes, and I'm thinking, well, my questions are not that hard, and I'm being nice and gentle with them, but they could see what was storming the stage. Literally hundreds and hundreds of these pubescent females charging the stage, and they just literally would have torn them limb from limb. We had no idea that Take That were going to be as big as they were, but these girls did, and these girls wanted a piece of the action. So literally the lads just went, gotta go, and ran as all these pubescent females stormed the stage. I'm standing there talking to myself with a microphone. The barriers were going everywhere. Everybody was screaming. It was just pandemonium. And I just said to the studio, play the song. And it gave us sort of 5 minutes to calm things down. And the lads had to go into, there was a building behind us. They had to go in and barricade the door, because these girls were not going to stop. They absolutely categorically wanted a piece of the action, and they were getting it. And Take That. So, I mean, I've never seen, I've seen Beatlemania on the telly, but Take That, it was the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of girls. Word must have gone round all the local schools. Take That's in town. So they literally just turned up in their school uniforms. Oi. I mean, I wasn't scared. Take That were, but just one of those things. Anyway, so the girls, I'd love to know who was it David Cassidy? I mean, I'm talking generationally. It would have been, Take That in the 80s or 90s. I don't know whether it was sort of boy bands in the 80s or the 70s. Was it the Osmonds? Was it the Jackson 5? Was it David Cassidy? So tell me, who was your pin-up, your rock and roll or pop pin-up on your wall as you were growing up? Donna Summer was stunning. I agree, Dave Johnson. Raymond Moore, Julie Driscoll. I remember Julie Driscoll. Great voice also. Napoleon Bonaparte, Mrs. Bonaparte at the Beer City Rollers. What can I say? She's American. Shang-a-lang. So, Adrian, just to set you going, I bet yours was Susan Boyle. Oh, Aidan, stop it. Yeah, I'll have to admit it. How do we end shite, man? Mine, there was two. One threw me a bit more wobbly than the other. Sandra Whitlam says, Donny. He's still a good-looking boy. George Harrison, Vix Tex, you like him deep. Bananarama, especially Karen, says Rich. Anne Widdicombe or Nora Batty, says Paul West. Paul, you're utter wrong. Les Griffiths, Kitty D. Is she still alive? Can't tell you. I had Bruce Lee and Debbie Harry on my wall, says Alan. And, well, Debbie Harry, I just couldn't take my eyes off her. I didn't know what it was. She just exuded this sexiness. But my number one-ish was Joint. So Debbie Harry was to look at as a pop star was very easy on the eye. But my telly, Farrah Fawcett, don't know why, probably the hair. But my favourite, Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman. Honestly, I couldn't take my eyes off. I went all unnecessary as a teenage boy when Lindsay Wagner, she's still around, she's still acting every now and again on the telly and doing and bits and pieces. So she's still around. Farrah Fawcett's not, obviously. Debbie Harry's still performing, if that's what you call it. Interesting, nobody said Madonna yet, says DC. Very interesting. Mad Matt, UK, welcome to the body of the Kirk you're on. Kate Bush says Neil Cunningham. Kiki was the first white female signed by Motown. Was she really? And that duet with Elton. Amalia Grassi. Oh, Robert Plant. Robert Smith. Robert Plant. I can understand both, but different ends. I mean, the term cock rock is where it came from Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin. Now, I can understand as a Led Zepp fan, musical fan, that, he was just, the women just loved him. Still, to this day, good-looking swine. David and Robert Smith, well, what a creative. Lipstick, though? Richard Sullivan says, Linda Lusardi. Karina Jane says, I like the Knight Rider guy. That's David Hoffs, the Hoffman. Beata says, I used to have a crush on Limal, but really fancied... Hang on, where's that? Oh, you see, the telly, Bodie from The Professionals. He's not around anymore. Which one was Bodie? Was it Doyle and Bodie? Bodie and Doyle? Who was Doyle and who was Bodie? Was Bodie the tall one? God, my memory's going. I see you. Thank you, Beata. I see you. I'm the same age as Madonna. I can send you all a copy of my passport photo. I think you might look younger than Madonna because she looks like my gran. Oh, stop it. I mean, I've got to concentrate tonight. Britt Eklund as Good Night in the Bond movies. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, and I've also got, I don't know whether anybody else has got this 12-inch. Britt Eklund did this song. I can't remember it, but the cover of the 12-inch single was her kind of kneeling down with some light orb strategically placed. And it was as close as you can get to being naked without being naked. And I've still got it somewhere in the collection somewhere. But yeah, that was more raunchy than the 007 movie. But I get it. I completely get it. Lionel Layton, they didn't do posters when I was a teenager. We might tear a page out of a magazine. Oh, right, okay. Brilliant. That's the thing. I've seen Kylie Minogue's golden hot pants. They are tiny. I mean, the cheeks of her derriere, like a couple of tennis balls. I saw it was on an exhibition at the one of the museums or something. The VA, somewhere in London. I was taken there for a day out and walked around. There was the Surrealists on one half and Kylie Minogue's golden hot pants on the other, and I was as inured by the Surrealists, Dali et al., as I was with Kylie Minogue's derriere. But she's still going. Pensioner. Marilyn Monroe. Oh my God, says Albert Medcalf. And Aidan Wellsmith. No, Stephen Hall. Evening, Adrian. Evening, Stephen. You're missing all the excitement we're talking about. Your poster. Your pin-up, as it were, as a teenager. Was it telly? Some people have said Bodie and Doyle. Some people are going right down the line of telly. Some people are going down the rock and roll baby line. Rusty's Roamings. I met Lewis Collins, great fella. Evening Rusty's Roamings. Soul Rebel, Lewis Collins. Who Dares Wins. Great movie, great little movie. Bad Wolf Project. Lewis Collins was from Bidston, not the Pool. Therefore, wannabe Scouser. Oh, Adam Waite, Pamela Anderson for me. There was too much Tommy Lee in the movie for me, my liking. Catherine Deneuve, Des Ashton. Oi. Who was the female, French female actress that played in The Deep? Wasn't Catherine Deneuve. English bottle cap. I wasn't going to mention the Wicker Man because literally the gloves would be off tonight. Sorry, unfortunate term of phrase. But I remember Britt Eklund is known for her performance of Willow's song from the 1973 film The Wicker Man. Rita Hayworth was classed as DC. Martin Shaw, another vote from Louis Sampson. My man crush would be Paul Hollywood, just because you get fed, Rich. I think that's cut and thrust of it. Paul Turkey, Alan Doyle was an ex-police officer, not a Marine. Sorry. Oh, Doyle. Right, okay. Jacqueline Bissett. Tom, you're utter wrongin'. So Jacqueline Bissett in the deep. Thank you, English Bottle Cap. Thank you to everyone. Linda Lewis likes a bit of Sean Connery. And I know the drummer from ABC, says Albert Medcalf. Wasn't Shoot That Poison Arrow from ABC written about an ex-girlfriend? Yeah, I'm sure it was. Glynis Barber, Dempsey and Makepeace. Hewitt Super Sub. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Les Griffith says, Pat Coombs. Les, you pervert. Pat Coombs, well, I never. No, I wouldn't have done. No one mentioned Sam Fox yet, says Rich. I think everybody was disappointed when she came out. Somebody, I see you, says Les. Who? Pat Coombs. Pat Coombs. Yeah. Jenny Agatha, says Alan. And Saturday morning, Sally James. Right, I'm going to stop the lot of you because you're getting all unnecessary now. Because we have to do some serious stuff. But I just wanted to see how you were, and it's a good gentle entry, pun intended, into the subject matters tonight. Jenny Hanley, Pat Benatar, Bad Wolf Project. Yeah. And Napoleon Blown Apart, I had mostly pics of bands I liked as a teenager. T-Rex, Bowie, Floyd, and Genesis. Not a bad lot. No, Napoleon Blown Apart. Not a bad lot at all. Paul Mabley, Jet of Gladiators. I'm with you, Paul. Met her at BBC Cleveland once. But then she went off to where the grass is greener, seemingly. Aidan Wellsmith says, Sissy and Ada, Les Dawson. Ooh. Garen Davis, Jet from the Gladiators. Do you not remember Jet from Gladiators, Garen? All the schoolboys had a proper crush. And I was running Buzz FM in Birmingham, and I got a phone call from their PR saying, look, there's a new ITV show. We've got all these super fit athletes. Do you want them to come in and do interviews? And I was like, well, do I play Take That, or do I do an interview with somebody that I don't know? And he offered me Jet to come in and do the interview. And I told her this years and years and years afterwards. But Jackie Glasgow's right in there at the sharp end. She's saying, I heard Trump did some important announcement, but don't know what it was. Jackie, I'm going to tell you, because everybody's missed it. As I said at the beginning of the live. Sorry, we'll leave that there. Stop drooling, the lot of you. Hinge and bracket. Aunt Sally. Is that Aunt Sally? Ian McGee. Jenny Agatha was lovely. He never makes anything else. Always breaking news, for fuck's sake, says I see you. Well, if you hang on, so now you can stop drooling, take a drink of your hibiscus or a small libation of a Jaeger bomb or Felicity Kendall, one rear of the year, nearly every year, Paul Morton. Oi. That's very strong. So, yes, the Donald has said something. He's playing 5D chess. He's just trolling everybody. But everybody missed it because the thick Yanks were blown away by Sniffy wearing a suit. So all they could think about was, oh, Mr. President, Sniffy, you got a bag on you? So I'm going to tell you what you've missed. You've missed it. I didn't. Gladiator Warrior used to live by us. He was huge, yeah, all big old unit. Bad Wolf Project, naughty. Sandy Shaw, what a great voice. I can't remember whether Petula Clark was definitely on our side, but was Sandy Shaw also on the other? Garen Davis says, I remember. She liked to keep a clean house. Sally from Man About the House. Oh yes, Sally. I see you, thick Yanks. Sally Tomset, says Rich. Now stop it, stop drooling. Have a bite of your Battenberg, or, make sure that the pews are kept clean. The Starmers, because they're hard on your ass. Talker 69, evening Adrian, all you utter wrongs of the Kirk late again. Talker 69, you've missed it all, man. We've just been salivating on pinups. Your pinup, your rock and roll pinup, whether it be bands or whether it be singers. You can go a bit of telly if you want, but that's what we've been doing to get us in the mood Les Griffiths. If you want to make donuts like Fanny's, wonderful. Wonderful. Do you know, I think I said this in one of the lives over the last couple of days. Our humour back in the 70s and 80s, not necessarily so in the 90s, but our humour as a nation was really gentle. So Frank Boff, everybody said, Frank Boff said on breakfast TV, if you want to make donuts like Fanny's, like Fanny Craddock's, the donuts that she just made and brought out of the oven. And everybody just went, titter, 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 titter ye not, titter, titter, titter. Everybody was like, oh my word, Frank Boff said donuts like Fanny's. It was so innocent. It was so gentle. And now the comedians are so base and aggressive and not funny at all. But back in the day, the days of Bob Monkhouse and Eric Morecambe and Tommy Cooper, just beautiful comedy. I mean, the setup, the gag, the tagline, the way that comedy was, and the proponents of comedy was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Love Thy Neighbour is a great example, of course, where certain things that we could talk about in the 70s, which we can't talk about now. So we're coming up to, it's Bank Holiday weekend this weekend, isn't it? So, if it's a Bank Holiday weekend, do we do a quiz? Do we do a quiz on Sunday or Monday? Bank Holiday quiz coming up. Lurkio, titty ye not. What? It's a skill I learnt in the army. It's an old trick I learnt in the army. Shut that door, Everard. I bet he was. Fanny ended up in a care home. They kept moving her because none of the homes in the area wanted her. Is that really? Well, I bet she was Laura Branigan. All right, Bad Wolf Project. Yeah. It must have been that curly perm. Stephen Hall, understanding 90s types. No, caring, understanding 90s types. It's John Bindon, Les. Les says, who was the actor who boasted of putting 12 donuts on his todger? I couldn't get one on. They kept splitting. Very funny, Les. No, it wasn't John Bindon who had a bit of a... how can we euphemistically put this? He had a dance with Princess Margaret because obviously she was a bit of a size queen. Sorry, size princess. She was never queen. And he could line up, was it 3 or 4 halves of bitter on the old schmeckle. God, that's really strong. But it was John Bindon, and that secret only came out in the news of the world. They were writing a piece about Princess Margaret and what was that? Mustique. I think she liked to go to Mustique, and they kind of shoehorned in, if you if you pardon the pun, wasn't intended. Johnny Bindon. Was it Bindon? Because he was doing the hard man acting at that point. A bit like the governor, Lenny McLean, who I met, and some of the tastier wrong-uns in London when I was when we were interviewing kind of, notable people. 6.5 crowns on his member was also published in Lenny McLean's book, The Governor. Did Lenny actually say that in The Governor? Brilliant. Figure I'm cracking open a bottle of red. Go for it, Les. Go for it. So let's get into the stuff. So I am going to. Should I tell you now? Let me get to my. So everybody's talking about it in the comments about Trump, and Trump said something that everybody's missed. What is it that we've missed? Knowing that I'm not going to miss it, and I didn't. So Trump was talking to Sniffy, and just mousing him. He was just toying with him, and Trump. And I'm paraphrasing here because I can't remember the exact quote, sort of. But Trump was talking to Sniffy, and Trump said, "Right, no more wars, no more wars." And Sniffy went, yeah, just agreeing with him, just yeah. And Trump said, "Because you can't have elections during a war, can you?" And Sniffy just went, yeah. And I was thinking, whoa, hang on a second. Is America going to go to war in 3.5 years? Is America going to have a war on their own soil. They've never had a war on their own soil. And some of the seemingly terrorist attacks, they weren't. They were bloody military grade, and they were the three-letter agencies. But there it is, right in front of you. Everybody's missed it. If America has to go to war in 3.5 years, he won't stand down because they can't have a presidential election. Where are we? 25, 28, a bit. So so they'll have 2026. They'll celebrate 250 years of not paying taxes to Charles the Weak, and then they'll get into 2027, and it'll get lively, and the aliens will appear, or the aliens will appear in 2028, and then we won't have any elections because we're at war with the aliens, war of the worlds, as Jeff Wayne once opined. So that's the answer. Is America, thereby the world, taking on aliens? They're not going to take on Russians. They're not going to go to war with the Russians. Who are they going to go to war with? North Korea. And we in shite, man. Not North Korea. It's not going to be Russia. It's not going to be Iran. No. They'll have their central bank. Look, they're all bankers' wars. Wars are bankers' wars. And they'll have all the central bank digital currencies. They'll have all them because Russia is now a peer power to America, and China's just sitting there not saying anything apart from building really dodgy houses that crumble when it starts to rain. Have you not seen that today? Oh, Jesus. I'm sure he would be out there. So Trump has just let you know, and it's about having the awareness to spot what he's up to. I'm not suggesting that I'm better than anybody else. I'm just kind of tuned into him playing 5D chess because he's some boy. Is Trump? He's some boy. I did say when he started running for president that he would save America. Looks like he's going to do that, but because the Democrats are evil. The Democrats are the new evil. Just look at the world under the Democrats and the Labour Party. But then again, it's WEF in Europe. So if you are controlled by the puppet masters of the World Economic Forum, David Beckham, oh, he's back in the press today. Lovely. We'll get to him later. Rich, yes, he was hinting that Sniffy would get voted out if the war stops. That's what Sniffy's after. He realises that when the war stops, there's every chance that somebody's going to have a pop at him, not Trump, Sniffy. So he wants the war to stop so he can disappear and nobody can find him. Bit of plastic surgery, bit of nip and tuck in South America. Then there we go. Starmer wants war to keep squatting in more ways than one. Ian, you're funny. I sincerely hope it's just gossip. It's not necessarily just gossip. It's Trump is offering you information. And that information is going to mean that, so a year before Starmer was elected, I said to you, so Keir Starmer, is he scaring you yet? Every single live, I told you that. It's a bit like Trump's 5D chess. I knew what was coming. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be this communist, Marxist, or socialist. I didn't think it was going to be somewhere left of bloody Lenin. Left. But I knew he was going to be trouble for the country. I knew the Labour Party was going to be trouble for the country. And this is how I know that the Labour Party's finished. It's over. It's done. And why is that? Because Blair started it in 97. And we got away with him and Brown by the skin of our teeth. And now that they're doing it even worse to the electorate. The electorate's never going to forgive them. The electorate's never going to vote for them, ever. And the kids that are now coming through, the 16, 17, 18-year-olds, not the 12-year-olds, because, look, they haven't got 2 IQ points to rub together. But the 16, 17, and 18-year-olds are seeing that this Labour Party and this group of front bench politicians are shafting the country. And they don't want to grow up in a country where they're going to have to touch their toes for a leader that's going to say, how deep do you want this? It's going to be their boots on the ground in Ukraine. They're going to war. Didn't they tell you? You're going to war. There's your uniform. Get your gun. You're fighting in Ukraine. And then Starmer's gone, no. It's not the front line. We're going to help out. We're going to put boots on the ground, and we're going to help out. No, it's not the front line. And then the meat grinder keeps going, and then all of a sudden Ukraine's like, we've run out of men. Look, Kia, can you give us some men because we've run out? We just need a couple of thousand here, there, and everywhere, and then they're going to go to our army, the little 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 19. Go and fight. You've got the gun. You've got the uniform. Go and fight. It'll be fine. Never trust a politician, any of them, because A, they all lie. B, they're all deviants. We had a prime minister that was wearing a day collar. Google it if you want. Just don't do it while anybody's looking over your shoulder. Day collar. Not suitable for work. An SFW. It's BDSM. It's a sub that is owned by a dominant. And they wear the day collar so that other dominants can't play games with that sub. That sub is owned. And I'm not talking about submarine, you wrong'un. I see you. Surely that would mean a European war. No? Turkey's keeping awfully quiet. Can't trust those bloody Ottomans, man. 100 years ago, that's why we had World War One. And remember, well, we'll get to Israel in 5 minutes or so, because I'm going to get to Rachel Reeves, the snake, in a second. But Trump has said, so we'll stay with this point so I can labour it. See what I did there? Labour. God, I'm wasted on you. Did Brigitte Macron attempt slap Emmanuel and hit Starmer's lip? Oh, that would be very good English bottle cap. That would be very good. There's not a man between them that could take him on. I see you. No, it's not going to be a European war. It's going to be an American war. Because America has never had a war on its doorstep. They don't like it. They like to go in and make money from it. But they don't like having a war on their doorstep. European war? No. Because NATO and Ukraine are not going to join the European super union. Because America doesn't want to have to support the European super union in a fight against anyone. So Russia is now a peer superpower to America. And Russia is the friend. So who's going to be the bogeyman? Can't be Putin. That's over. It's done. It's finished. And everything that happens now over the next few weeks is just window dressing. It's just theatre, darling. Theatre. They're not going to do anything. Putin's not going to do anything. He got everything that he wanted from Trump on Friday. They're not going to announce anything until they have the second meeting, and Putin says it'll be in Moscow. Oh, can you imagine Trump going to Moscow? Oi, 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 oi. I mean, it was bad enough. Was it the B-52 bomber that went overhead? I mean, I loved it. I loved the chutzpah of Trump just turning around and saying, here, Vladimir, look at that, man. Look at that. It's a big bird. Big bird. Got loads of bombs on it. Bye-bye, Sniffy. Yeah, I agree. Napoleon blown apart. He's gone. He's done. Look, he's got all of his... he's got his $50 million per month out, $600 million a year for however many years. And he's got all of the hotels in Eilat. He's got his property portfolio all over the world. America, Florida, Eilat, all over the world. But nobody's talking about that. Jackie Glasgow, all the world's a stage. You've absolutely nailed that, Jackie. Because, look, they've got to fill the mainstream media. It's a big beast. And it devours data, news, information, and then spits out whatever their agenda is at that particular point. So I believe that they've done that. They've had all of the reportage over the weekend. And then Monday, all of the European leaders sitting in front of Trump like a bunch of naughty school kids. So and also, I still need to impress on you. You need to keep an eye on Agenda 2030. It's just a timeline. They'll do all kinds of stuff in varying different ways. But the deadline, the winning line, is Agenda 2030. 2030. So in the run-up to that, they're going to want to get rid of certain things. I mean, we have 24 hours. In fact, less than 24 hours. It finishes like 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow. The inquiry into a digital ID, a unique digital identifier. I told you a year ago. Summer 2024, what Blair was up to, he didn't really want to talk about it because there was millions to be made. But the unique digital identifier, they've now held an inquiry between June this year and August. And then they'll take all of the data, they'll go away and go, we don't care what you said. You're getting a digital identifier, unique digital identifier. It's going to be digital ID. And what can we do? So all of the stuff, and the reason I've mentioned the digital identifier is to show you that all of this news reportage that's going on, busy, sniffy, America, Europe, Ukraine, it's stopping you from focusing on the very thing that they want running through, and that's a digital ID. 5 o'clock tomorrow, it's all over, done. If nobody's complained, if you haven't written to your MP and they haven't replied, but I've been talking about it for a month. I've done my own little thing in the background. But we literally are going to be bent over. And as Jackie Glasgow says, it's all window dressing. The world is a stage, it's window dressing. They're talking about Sniffy wearing a suit above and beyond what's going to happen if digital IDs go through. All right then, Les, spit it out. Use code if you have to. And also, I see you and Jackie Glasgow have got this bob on as Les. They want you to be scared. Because if you're scared, you will do as you're told. And if you're scared, you'll stay where you are. So divide and rule. They've conquered you psychologically. They know what to do to scare you. If you're scared, you won't do anything. I mean, we don't need any more examples other than 2020. We don't. Because 2020, bloody hell, they locked us down. And the only thing that you got was rattle your pots and pans on a Thursday night to support the NHS because they're making far too many TikTok videos. And we need them to get back to work, the slackers. And we're locking down to flatten the curve 4 to 6 weeks and protect the NHS. That's very sharp. Napoleon Bonaparte, I agree. 2020 was just a test, but it was a very good test. And the test was, what could they put in place? The emergency laws, the emergency measures. What can they get away with? What money can they, the transfer of wealth from me and you, the taxpayers, to the super rich. But what it also did was it allowed them to understand what they could get away with and not get done for. So that's why the Charlie 19 inquiry is still ongoing. It's still going to take another year or two before they determine anything. So look at it. It feels like an amorphous mass, yes. It feels like chaos, but it's not. That's why Klaus Schwab kept publishing books, because how do you get the message out to the powerful? One, you do it straight to camera. So when Starmer's doing speeches and he's telling people this and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, his paymasters, the shadow dwellers, the puppet masters are watching him on the telly. It's the easiest way to see. Oh, let's have a look at Sky again. Let's have a look at the BBC. What's Starmer talking about now? Oh, right. So he's done that. Brilliant. So they all get to know what he's up to. Because remember, he's acting like a president, not a prime minister. He's not having anything that he's doing ratified by Parliament. And Larry Fink and Bill Gates at number 10, what the actual were they doing there? Well, we know now. Gates wants us to inject cows with stuff that's going to stop them farting, because seemingly farting cows is ruining the earth. My hairy backside. And then Larry Fink, well, he's now the co-chairman of the World Economic Forum in Davos. The most evil entity, apart from the Bilderbergers, the most evil entity on planet Earth. And Klaus Schwab, let's have a think. What did Klaus get sacked for? It wasn't, thank you very much. He wanted to retire, he wanted to step down, but he wanted to do it over a year so that he would step down at the World Economic Forum of 2026. And then somebody went, oi, Klaus, mate, Foxtrot Oscar, you're funny. Yeah, you are funny, but we know what you've been doing. So off you go, mate, Foxtrot Oscar. Oh, okay. You're not in charge, Klaus. We are. So here's stakeholder capitalism. And again, how do you get the message across to the most powerful on the planet? You can't get round and glad hand everybody. So you either speak to the TV camera and the news channels that you're buying off with taxpayers' money through advertising and the mainstream media newspapers. They go in there, but you're sending a message to the shadow dwellers, to the paymasters, the puppet masters, sitting at the top of the food chain. They need to know that you are doing what they are telling you to do. You do that by just doing interviews. Oh, yeah, we're doing this, doing this. That's why he looks like a rabbit caught in the headlights, because he's thinking on 20 different levels. He knows what the future's going to be. He knows what he's doing. He can't give away that particular secret, so he's got to say something else. And what am I going to say when the press pack turn on you and call you an utter wrong'un? So, Sakir, what's your favourite band? It ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. A bag of blow on the fucking train. Cows have 5 stomachs. I know, greedy feggers. So the second way, write a book. So if you look at Klaus Schwab, go to Amazon and just type in Klaus, Klaus Schwab, Schwab. Klaus Schwab, just put it in there and see what he's written. Because all the answers that you need are in his books. I can't remember how many bloody stakeholder capitalism in his books, because I've got them. He lays it out for you, because the only people buying his books are the people that know what the agenda is. And the people that know what the agenda is are following his lead. It's communist. It's communism. Now, whether you believe in politics or not, it's over. It's finished. It's done. Politics has served no one other than the politicians, the parasitical classes. I've told you before, they're very, very wealthy, and there is a difference between rich and wealthy. And the wealthy want to keep hold of their wealth. So remember, just before World War II, when the then King Edward and Mrs. Simpson, when they were cozying up to Hitler, and everybody at the time was none the wiser as to why they would be cozying up to Hitler. The reason why they cozied up to Hitler was because they were scared shitless about the Bolsheviks, who were Jewish, the Bolsheviks in Russia, who killed off the royal family in Russia. So our royal family were backing Hitler to beat the Bolsheviks and the Russians in any skirmish. Turned out, Hitler turned on them. But remember, the wealthy don't give a flying about you or me or anybody else. They only care about themselves, and they only care about keeping their wealth, and how they pass it down is, so normally it's an heir and a spare. So if you look at the royal family, there's William, he's the heir, so he's getting all the money, he's getting, all the baubles, all the houses, all the palaces, all the nice stuff. And then the second one would normally go into become a vicar, a reverend. Why? Because the firstborn gets all the money and the wealth. The secondborn gets the power. But obviously, Ginger Bollocks is not bright enough to know that he was supposed to get all the power. That's why they joined the Catholic Church. That's why they were shagging kids and being one of the club. Because if you go into the club, it's a bit like joining a gang, really. As the Americans will tell you, the Crips and the Bloods. If you want to join the gang, and or in London, the knife gangs, you've got to do certain things, which is why kids are killing each other, because that's part of the ritual of becoming a gang member or a gang leader. So if you want to be in the Catholic gang, you know what you got to do. So wealth and power, that's all the elite are after. So you've got all of that going on in the background. So how do you get to the wealthy if you can't sort of leave your ski chalet in Davos and go to, I don't know, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, anywhere in the world where you've got your young leaders of the future belonging to WEF? You write a book. So you would be reading, without the context and the understanding of what they're actually saying. But if you can read between the lines, start reading Klaus Schwab's books, even though he's a goner, as in metaphorically from WEF. But they don't want anybody else to know or understand what they are doing at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Why? Do you know there's 2 World Economic Forums a year? And do you know in 2020, it was 2020 or 21, one of them, they couldn't do the winter Davos, so they did it in the summer. I didn't tell you that, did you? Because for the last 50 years, it's always been at the end of January, beginning of February. You've got to understand these people are snakes. Not the David Icke kind, but just snakes. Don't believe them. So the chief executive officer of the co-chief executive officer of the World Economic Forum, Larry Fink, was in number 10. Pictures were taken. Reeves and Starmer. Now, these two, Reeves and Starmer, just want to get up the food chain. They want to get into the House of Lords. They want free money for doing absolutely bugger all. They want to fraternise with the elite, the world's power, so that then they can go up the food chain and they can get the odd... don't say that, Adrian. You know, English bottle cap. Cold-blooded. Exactly. So which moronic person, MP, decided that having Bill Gates and Larry Fink in number 10 having a meeting was a bright idea? And what exactly was the detail of that meeting? You can't get it through Freedom of Information requests. I know people that have asked. Oh, by the way, do you know when people tell you that they're a BBC whistleblower? No, they just submit Freedom of Information requests. That's not whistleblowing at all. That's not even been anywhere up the food chain. So, Trump is playing 5D chess with you. You have to, that's why I say to you, when you come here for these lives, it might sound random. It might sound that I'm off me chump sometimes. But what I'm doing is I'm preparing you for maybe a week or 2 or 3 or 4 down the line. A year it took you before you realised that Starmer was evil. And other things that I've told you about. The Ben Gurion Canal. Everybody's forgotten about that. Everybody's forgotten about it. Why? Should we do Israel now? Do you want to know what's going on? Or do you want me to tell you about Rachel Reeves and how big her strap-on's going to be? Sorry, Rev, what's a strap-on? It's not going on your forehead, that's for certain. Let's do Rachel Reeves, the snake, and then let's do Israel. So let me just make this clear to you. What I attempt to do on every single live is give you information so that you can either do your own research, you already have bits of knowledge that it would go with. I'm not giving you your answers, but down the line, I know the stuff that I'm going to tell you tonight, like the Trump thing, might not happen for a year or 18 months or 2 years. But you will remember it. And I've got people that listen to my late night phone-ins, and I did exactly the same on the late night phone-ins, and they said, "Bugger me, Adrian, I used to listen to you 20 years ago, and what you said actually came true." Now, I'm neither psychic nor talented, because if I was psychic, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be winning the bloody lottery every weekend, as I keep telling you. But it's easy to see. They have to announce what they're doing, because the karmic shift is on them. And I'm not talking about this physical body now. I'm talking energetically and I'm talking spiritually, the soul. And if the soul is eternal, they don't want anything impinging on their soul's journey for eternity. That's an awful long time. Bad Wolf Project. Do Rachel Reeves? I'd rather do Jail Time. I think you would do Jail Time if you did do Rachel Reeves, Bad Wolf Project. My neighbours now listen to me as I'm the same. Brilliant, Jackie. Brilliant. That's all we need. Rachel Thieves, says English Bottle Cap. That's all we need. I'm of the mind that we can't wake up the sheep. We can't. So we have to band it together as the lions, the lion-hearted ones that can see through the bullshit. Now, I won't get everything right all of the time, but it gives us an opportunity with these lives to discuss things that we know is important, and as adults we can have adult conversations. I love the comments in these lives, because it's not always an echo chamber. Some people would make a point and it's actually, oh, let's think about that. Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good questions. So we look at it as adults and then we reflect on it. By the time we get to the next live or the next live, it's done its own work and we think, yeah, brilliant, wonderful. That's all these lives are for. Whether they're an hour, 90 minutes or 2.5 hours. That's all I do these lives for. Let's get to Rachel Reeves first. And again, some people might not be, their constitution might not be so robust as others. So me using the language that I use might upset some people. I don't particularly care because these are important subjects. And it's not down to the language that I use. It's down to the understanding that you gain. And language is just language. The lexicon of language is just language. So long as you understand what I say, and so long as you understand some of the codes that I use so that I don't get taken off YouTube, brilliant, brilliant. But it's not necessarily the words that I use, it's the understanding that you gain from the information that I give you. And I scour every single newspaper, every single news channel, and other sources, so that by the time I get to sort of 5:30 before a live, I pretty much know where I am, and then I prepare myself for the presentation of that information. That's what I do now. And so let's get to Rachel Reeves. So I am sure it's becoming clear to you that Rachel Reeves plans to tax high-value homes, to use her vernacular, to plug a fiscal hole. It's now a 50 billion black hole because of their incompetence, their corruption. And there's young Starmer flying on a private jet out to Washington, D.C., spending your taxes, not his money, your taxes, to fuck about on a private jet. So Rachel Reeves, and I'm telling you now, she plans to tax high-value homes to plug this 50 billion black hole. So what does that mean? Now, you would think that she's just going to go after the middle classes. She's already gone after the pensioners. She's absolutely mullered those poor old feckers. You will own nothing and be happy. Please remember that. Although we joke about it and have joked about it for years. This is really serious. And why is that? Because they are doing the pensioners before they go. Because this generation of pensioners are the richest pensioners there's ever been. Because triple lock, private pensions, they may have worked all their life. I mean, obviously there's the slackers, but those that have worked are being rewarded for working and supporting the nation. But they don't want these pensioners to pass on houses, which when I was a boy, I don't know about you, but when I was a boy, anybody that had a home worth £200,000, they were insanely wealthy. I mean, one of my dear friends, his... yeah, I'm going to get to that in a moment, Rusty's Roamings. Pull a jumper on Amalia. I had a friend and they had this massive mansion. I mean, it was massive, had its own snooker room. It was just the most beautiful home. But at that point in the 80s, it was worth about £250,000. Now in London, you can barely get a terraced house for anything less than £800,000. So that's what they're after. Anybody that's got a house, I think it's over 600,000. Hearing homes over 500,000 will be hammered. So you're looking at, in certain parts of this country, the average home. But the higher rate taxpayers, that's anybody that's paying over 40% tax, would have to pay 24% of the value of any gain they make from the increase in the value of their property. Let me just explain that to you again. Because maybe you're only listening with one ear and the other ear's on something else. So higher rate taxpayers, you're looking at the 40% plus, they would have to pay a quarter of the value of any gain they make from the increase in the value of their property. So say you've got somebody living in London, for arbitrary sake. We'll just pick London, because that's where the house prices go up and up and up. So somebody bought a house in the 80s or the 90s and may have bought it for 100, 150 grand, which was an awful lot of money in the 80s and the 90s, especially for the city boys. And now the house is worth 600,000 or 700,000. For arbitrary sake, let's say they bought it for £200,000. And let's, for arbitrary sake, for the purposes of this exercise, say it's now worth 800,000. If the person selling it is paying over 40% tax, the government trousers £200,000. Now that may be, so the gain would be from 200 to 800. So that's 600,000. The government would take a third of that. The government would take £200,000. Thank you very much. And do you know me and you, maybe, the basic rate, taxpayers? We would have to pay 18%. So anybody that's kind of getting away with it in the middle classes, they're going to have to pay 24%. But me and you, yeah, exactly. I'll get that in a second, Tocker. You're going to have to pay 18%. So again, maybe you bought, I don't know, a house in the 80s, which might have been worth 60 or 70 grand, which was a lot of money in the 80s. And now it's worth, say, 250. You're still going to have to pay nearly a fifth of any gain in the profit. And what they'll do is they'll change it so that it's gross, not net. So you'll have to pay them 18% of the gross, and then you'll take all the stamp duty off, and the stamp duty will refer to the full price. So they'll make it so that you're not making any money. So what they're trying to do, as they've done with the pensioners, is make sure you don't get any money. You'll own nothing and be happy. That's what they're doing. They're shafting you to stop you from making any money that you can pass down, because they have to stop the trickle down. That's what they're stopping. So your kids or inheritance, or your grandkids' inheritance, they're trying to stop that because they want this wealth that has been amassed by Gen Y? No, X. The kind of baby boomers from the 50s and the 60s, and then into Generation X. They're making sure that those generations can't pass anything on. And these thieving bastards in government, they're going to take it so that they can fly on private jets anywhere, and obviously take a bag of Coca-Cola with them and do whatever they want to do with the Fun Boy 3. So you don't see it. I mean, I'm sure Lammy's gastric band is really upset, because all that food he could have eaten paid for by the taxpayers. And now he's, I think he's on a fat jab myself. But you can't say that, because he'll go, no, I'm not. You're cutting down on the cheese, are you? Neil Cunningham, I bought my ex a house in Gaza. We will get to the Israelis in just a second. Because what I also do is I go over some of the things that I might have told you a month or two or three. When it's Israel, I told you, Jesus, October 7th, when was that? A year and nearly 2 years ago. Or was it October last year? Either way, I told you there was a reason why I told you about this this pervert in Vegas, the Jew, that got out of Vegas, PDQ, and got over Serco buying 3-bed homes in Crewe valued at 120 for up to 300k, all for HMOs. Oh, Jesus, man. I'll say that again from Bad Wolf Project. Serco buying 3-bed homes in Crewe valued at 120 grand for up to 300k, all for HMOs. The gimme grants. Just remember this. If these big companies buy the housing stock does not return to our ownership. Because if we want to buy the housing stock back, we will pay through the nose for it. And we haven't got that. certainly when we're being raped of all our all of our assets and wealth in this country by the political classes. That's their game. That's what they're doing. Let's talk about. So yes. So the last couple of days, there's been a Jew that's got out of Vegas because he was attempting to meet a child for sexual activity and was caught and found out. And he got out of Vegas, PDQ. He's now back in Israel. So let me, I'm going to rattle through some quickies because you can get understanding from this. I know that the majority of the audience now, the majority of the parishioners of the body of the kirk get it, and they understand what I talk about. Because you've been here plenty of time. There's Rich talking with everybody, talking about his house as part of his retirement fund, and other people are talking about Rich's situation and how that relates to you if you're just watching the conversation, because we are a community here. We don't judge, we support and help. We are in service of others, the other parishioners in the body of the kirk. David Graham said, just been watching a bit of Ben Habib talking to Andy the Gabby Cabby tonight. Habib's going nowhere. Nowhere. They might like to, because there's a lot of people now thinking, oh, I could be a politician. Oh, I might do this, I might do that. Well, it's all after the power. Me, I just want to stay a hairy-ass grunt. I'm an agent provocateur. I'd rather do this and tell you the truth than go and work with sharks. You know, they're all liars, they're all crooks, ne'er-do-wells, utter wrong-uns. There's loads of people that will want to be part of that game in the next general election. They haven't got the skills. So let's go through these quickies. Trump has spoken to a guy called Mark Levin, and he's saying that Netanyahu is a war hero. Really, Donald? Really? So in an interview with Mark Levin, President Trump calls Prime Minister Netanyahu a war hero and praises him for his efforts to free Hamas-held hostages. We're going to get to a piece about Netanyahu that will give you clarity and understanding. So Israel, the country, is calling up 60,000 reservists ahead of a planned Gaza City offensive. Now, I'm going to ask you, have you seen that anywhere? No, you haven't, because I read every newspaper. It's in none of the newspapers. It's in none of the TV reportage. It's in none of the radio reportage. It's not being reported anywhere. They're all talking about Hamas and Gaza. But I'm telling you now that Israel is calling up 60,000 reservists ahead of a planned Gaza City offensive. So, from that, you will recognize that Israel have got northern Gaza and working on extracting the oil and gas out of the Gaza Strip and out of the East Mediterranean Sea and preparing for the Ben Gurion Canal, which is halfway up the Gaza Strip. This is what it's all about, the gas and the oil and the Ben Gurion Canal, which the Israelis or the Israeli nation and government have wanted to implement since the 1960s. But nobody's talking about it, because they're all as thick as pig shit. And yet there it is, like the nose on your face, right in front of you. And people are talking about Trump, saying Netanyahu's a war hero. Here. Foxtrot Oscar. So, someone's got hold of a senior military official within the Israeli IDF army. They've got different flavours. They've said that the reservists would report for duty in September. We're 2 weeks away from September, man. We're 3 weeks away from our birthday party. And most of the troops mobilised for the offensive would be active duty personnel. It won't be the North London Jews, that's for certain. You would think that they would want to go and fight in Gaza. wouldn't you? Anybody that states that Israel is their home state would obviously want to get the uniform on and take a gun and go and fight. Now, if you want to look at what is happening in Gaza and around the world, because there are other skirmishes happening. I mean, Trump reckoned the other day that he'd stopped 6 wars. But I'll give you this as fact. A record number of aid workers have been killed in 2024, the UN has said. Some 383 humanitarian workers were killed in attacks last year, almost half of them in Gaza. So the Israeli army doesn't give an absolute flying. If you're in front of them, you're getting mowed down. They don't care. Why should they care? It's war. Just kill you. Now, if you want to take that and just let that land for a couple of days, we'll sort of move on a little bit because we need to get and stay with Trump. Because beneath all of the grandstanding that we've had this last weekend, and we are coming up to a bank holiday weekend, I mean, do you not get that the European leaders remain utterly dependent on America's protection? You do understand that, don't you? So Trump's got them by the sphericals. He's got them by the short and curlies. You'll do as you've been told, including you, Starmer, you deviant fucker. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? So Trump has, look, if you, all of the reportage, there's only the Daily Mirror, and it's a rag that I wouldn't wipe my arse with. Brit troops to keep the peace, talking about Ukraine. So Trump's Ukrainian endgame. So I reckon that what Trump has done is, it's an American, they like to be John Wayne. It's an American retreat disguised as peace. So all the money that's gone into Ukraine, that's been washed and laundered and brought back out again into the trouser pockets of all the politicians. Joe Biden, 10% Terry, that fecker. 10% for the big lad. Nearly 100 million was washed to go into the Biden family's bank accounts out of Ukraine. How does that work then? I thought they were giving them aid. Giving them aid to help the Ukrainian government and sniffy kickbacks into the American politician's arse pocket. So let me tell you what the most likely outcome is going to be around what Trump is talking about, the Ukraine endgame. So, and this is just a theory, just, off the top of my head. And as I see you says, Trump is worth watching. He plans ahead. So, an outcome. It's not the most likely outcome, but it could be an outcome. I reckon, and as I said earlier, it's going to be, shall we euphemistically call it, a temporary thaw in the US-Russia relations. But then again, the broader geopolitical struggle will go on around the world. They need war, not George Orr, to wash and launder money to get it into the trouser pocket of the politicians. That's the only reason that they want to become politicians. For the money. Show me the money. Money, money, Benjamins. Money, money, money. But the real losers, if I may be so bold, is actually Ukraine and Europe. Because Russia and America, best buddies, the thaw in the Cold War, the thaw between Putin and Trump, which has never been there. They've always been best buddies since his first term. Putin loves him, thinks he's a great character. And so does Trump. They're both businessmen, man. So the real losers are going to be not only those that have lost sons and daughters and children and family members in the war in Ukraine, but it's also, if we're putting Brit troops on the ground to keep peace, why aren't we putting the blue caps, the UN, into Ukraine to broker for peace? We did that in Yugoslavia. It was British troops, just kind of badged as a UN peacekeeping force. So the Ukrainians will continue dying in a war that they cannot win. It's really as simple as that. Whilst the Europeans will continue to foot the bill. So America is not paying any money It's not sending any troops. The Ukrainians are going to die in the battlefield, and Europe's going to pay for it. But eventually, the Europeans and the Ukrainians both will be forced to accept a deal on Russian terms. But only after further suffering. After that moronic person that purports to be a prime minister, well, he's actually a president of Great Britain, because that's how he's acting. Getting round all the treaties so he can do whatever he wants. £100 billion to Ukraine. Sorry, 300 billion. 3 billion a year for the next 100 years. So, even after the kind of rapprochement between Russia and America, Trump and Putin, Europe, that's them, not us. Remember that. That's why they want us as part of Europe via the back door. Backdoor Starmer. So that's why they want us in there. For that. They want our money, don't give a flying about us. But Europe as this super union will remain trapped in a hostile and militarized relationship with Russia, with potential for renewed hostility at any time. So you're going to say to me, okay, Adrian, I get all that. Thank you for that. I'm beginning to get clarity and understanding. So just explain what was the Alaska thing about? So what you're wanting to know is what actually happened in Alaska. The Putin-Trump meeting, I would suggest, dropped some important veils. You lifted the curtain. I believe the meeting in Anchorage in Alaska revealed that Washington, the big beast, views Russia as a peer power. And that Europe, the European super union, is little more than America's useful idiot. So America stops paying, stops losing lives, Americans stop coming back in body bags. So Europe have got to support Ukraine financially. Ukraine has to fight Russia on its own, and Russia's literally bursting its incontinence pants, laughing so hard. They've got Crimea, nobody's going to take that off them. The Donbass, the Ukrainians are never going to get that back. So what is all of this? It's it's Trump doing deals with Putin so that Putin get the we won, so therefore we can negotiate peace. America can say it's not our war, it's Ukraine and Russia, so it's for them two to sort it all out. So they pull all of their money out so that Donald can make them great again, and he's not spending hundreds of billions of dollars when every year the American debt now stands at $37 trillion. So he's trying to get his own backyard in order. But it's really clever 5D chess. And Trump's the master, as is Putin for that matter. But Sniffy, he's just off his tits on Coca-Cola. Alan says Putin's lost 1 million men. Alan, they lost 24 million people in World War II. And this war has been going on longer than the Second World War. So I'm sure Putin will take the collateral damage of 1 million men just to make sure he secured the gas and the oil out of the Black Sea via Crimea. Stephen Hall, it's all planned, of course. Yeah, it's not chaos, Stephen. It's everything. Everything is planned meticulously. That's why they meet every year, or twice a year sometimes. Nobody's talking about the Bilderbergers, are they? They haven't evolved into the World Economic Forum. The Bilderbergers are still the Bilderbergers, and they're still going about their business. But, to use the well-hackneyed phrase, it's a big club, just we're not in it. So I'm going to tell you, where Elon Musk is, because you've forgotten about him, and I'm going to tell you what the press isn't telling you. Are you aware that hundreds of thousands of Israelis rallied in central Tel Aviv last night to demand the government brings back the hostages and ends the war in Gaza. And it's one of the biggest protests since October the 7th. But they're not telling you that because it doesn't fit the narrative. And the narrative is they want to control Gaza. They want the Gazans gone. They're not the Palestinians. Look, it's all corrupt. It's all corrupt. And how do I know that? Little Yasser Arafat. Can you remember the head of the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization? Little Yasser Arafat. He was the leader. Palestinian Liberation Organization. Two-state solution. The Palestinians and the Israelis. And yet, when little Yasser Arafat died, they couldn't find the billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars that the Americans and the rest of the world gave little Yasser to keep these people in check. Why was that, Adrian? Did he shove it under his bed? No, they're in Swiss bank accounts in Switzerland. You know, the Templar nation. They're in bank accounts in Switzerland. Yet, little Yasser had a heart attack. Dead. Might not have been a heart attack, but it was. There was not enough time because Yasser Arafat kept all of the bank account details in there. Billions and billions and billions of dollars, all in there. So he could go to Switzerland and draw the odd 20 quid out, go to the ATM. I've got my card, lads. Don't worry, we'll be able to drink tonight. But we're Muslim, we don't drink. Well, I'll buy you a Coke. I need some champagne. And he just had the bank accounts all in there, all the money in the bank accounts in there. When he died, nobody could find the bank accounts. And the Swiss are not going to let you know what he had in there. Of course he's not. So little Yasser Arafat, who was supposed to be the leader of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, fucked him over for all the millions and billions of pounds in dollars, American dollars, that he put in bank accounts in his name. And even the people around then believed that he was the savior of Palestine. No. He asked them for all the money. The Hamas heads use it to fund Hamas. Is that right, Theo Bovril? I thought they were in Qatar or somewhere, spunking it up with lap dancers and alcohol. Well, the Muslims, obviously, don't do that. Don't have sex with other women other than the wives. And they don't drink alcohol. My hairy arse. So there was demonstrations on the streets of Tel Aviv, the capital of Israel, yesterday. And the demonstrators want the Israeli government to bring back the hostages and end the war in Gaza. Now, as I've been telling you, weeks and months, Netanyahu is never going to stop the war. Why? Because while he's a war prime minister, they can't get him into court for fraud. And the minute the war in Gaza ends, or the war ends, he's in court for fraud. So this mass gathering followed a day of nationwide demonstrations and a general strike calling for the government to halt its military campaign. Netanyahu's not going to do that. There's bloody Trump calling Netanyahu a war hero. Netanyahu wants to hear that because he's not going to stop being a war president. No. War prime minister, rather. No. Means he doesn't get into court. But now, hundreds of thousands, and I think there's 9.5 million Israelis in Israel, and hundreds of thousands, that's a fair number of the people that live in Israel, have been rallying. We want the government to bring back the hostages and end the war in Gaza. But my first question that naturally trips off the tongue, how many bloody hostages did the Israelis take? How many hostages have the Gazans taken? It's like thousands. But so Israel's not very happy at the moment, including Trump and Netanyahu. Alan said, did his 6 wives have the PIN number? No, there were one number of the 6 number PIN. What's the best book in your opinion, Adrian? The Schwab book. I'll have a think about that one, Jackie. I'll either stick it on X or more than likely I'll stakeholder capitalism gives you the overall view and template of what they're doing. And but it has the detail of it all. It's literally like a roadmap, stakeholder capitalism. But all of these books are, stakeholder capitalism is the more recent one. So that's the kind of the Windows update for the plan, for the whatever they intend to do. The other stuff that's, 10 years old, we're beyond that. So I would say, and I'm looking over there because it's a massive big bookshelf. I would say stakeholder capitalism for the moment. I'll have a think about it, and maybe I'll start doing a deep dive on some of Schwab's stuff and put it on these lives for you. Very quickly, I want to tell you what Elon Musk's up to, because seemingly he's gone back to launching rockets. But can you remember when Elon Musk was kicking off at Trump? He was kicking off at Trump. He was kicking off at Starmer. He was kicking off at the Labour Party. He was kicking off at maybe a little bit of the Tories. But he was kicking off. He was supporting Tommy Robinson. He was supporting right-wing politics. He was kicking off big time. And then all of a sudden, he has this massive spat with Trump. He spat his dummy and off he's gone. And then he came out and said, right, I've had enough of you lot. I'm Elon Musk. I'm the richest man on the planet. So I'm going to start my own political party. Remember that? He's already pumping the brakes. He's good at saying stuff, but he's a dummy spitter. So Elon Musk has, so this is what he's up to. Not quite sure. I know that J.D. Vance has been across here with Fat Lad Lammy and Lammy's Gastric Band. Fat Lammy's Gastric Band, and I think he met up with Farage while he was in the Cotswolds. But it looks like Elon Musk is backing J.D. Vance, and he's trying to maintain the ties with J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance is going to be the next president of the United States. And some people are already saying, well, how long has Trump got? How long is he going to stay in office? Well, J.D. Vance, a potential heir to Trump's MAGA political movement. So that's what. So Elon Musk, just keep an eye on it. Elon Musk is throwing his hat in with the J.D. Vance into the J.D. Vance ring. Pun not intended, you wrong'un. I'm trying to think of what else I've got for you. It was... Right, that's that. That's that. We've got the quickies out of the way. We might do that. Got a couple of things I want to talk to you about. I'm becoming, if it was ever possible, I'm becoming even more cynical around health and health advocacy. Because RFK Jr., Robert Kennedy, is now having a go at a paediatrician's group over some jibber-jabber recommendations. And look, I'm not a dad, but I feel ever so sorry for a parent or grandparent that is having to make decisions around children's health, because they are jabbed more than a pincushion, the little ones. So in America, RFK is heading up that and deciding what can and can't be done. But the paediatricians are up in arms because obviously there's money in them, their kids. So hours after the American Academy of Pediatrics, that's the professional society of doctors who care for children, issued a Charlie 19 jibber-jabber guidance, which contradicted the health secretary, RFK. And RFK accused the group of engaging in a pay-to-play scheme to promote commercial ambitions of big pharma benefactors. That doesn't sit right with me. Because whatever happens in America, it's all about the Benjamins, it's all about the money. look, I know that doctors study for an inordinate amount of time. So to get paid for that, is it 8 years before you can become a doctor? For all of that work, but putting our kids at risk for that. I watched a very good film. If you can ever get a view of Bovril. Oh yeah, I would say that. I'm not going to say it out loud, but yeah, I would agree with you. Look, there's been previous prime ministers who have taken their children out of this country so that particular jibber jabber they could have separately rather than together. I know so. Vixtex, I agree with you. There are some jibber jabbers that have done so much good work for humankind that they've it's been a benefit to the greater good, like polio. Horrible disease. One of my heroes, Ian Jury, was a polio victim, and he had time in an iron lung. I mean, can you imagine the trauma of being a little one and having to use an iron lung to breathe? So Amalia hits the nail on the head. God bless and save RFK. Big Pharma is very, very strong. They're just. But look, the last 5 years, we've gotten some semblance of knowledge and understanding around. We didn't know what was going on. We thought we were doing the best thing by everybody else. By some people took the jibber jabber. Some people said they didn't, and they did because they wanted to go to America. There's all that going on, and I believe the majority of people were trying to do what they believed was the right thing for themselves, their family, their community, and society. Yet it was the corruption of the politicians and that transfer of enormous wealth that corrupted everything. So now we look back on it and think, well, hang on, we did the right thing as far as we were concerned, whether it was spiritually or religiously or just trying to support your community. People trying to do the right thing. Politicians, the thieving bastards, were just after the money. And even in the inquiry, they're all shitting themselves in case the inquiry says, oh, so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. In fact, I might do a deep dive on Boris Johnson. What a 50-face clown that man is. So the other day, it was like, no, we need to support Ukraine. We need to give them money. We need to give them arms and armaments and blow the bloody Russians up and blah, 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 blah. Let's go war. And yet today, he's saying what happened at the weekend was the right thing to do. Hang on a minute. Pick a lane. You either want war and the spending of war, or you want peace. Now, there's only 5 days between the two columns. What a joke that man is. He should never be allowed anywhere near a political party, but then again, he's not going to. So I'm going to round the live up at that for this evening. I've done as much as I can tonight. Without getting myself in even more trouble. But again, if you could smash the likes on your way out of the body of the Kirk, please. If we can get anywhere near 150, that would I'd really appreciate that. And please make sure that you're subscribed, because I think the deal is, was it Laird Wookfit? He said that if you don't post on the lives, thank you, Stuart. Thank you, kind sir. Again, thank you for your support. I think if you don't comment on any of the videos, then YouTube, the algorithm, just thinks, oh, hang on a second, they've not interacted with that for like a month or 2 months or 3 months, so we'll just unsubscribe them. I think that's the way it works. So if you're able just to comment, then please keep commenting, whether it's on these lives or once the videos have been put up. I think because it's a bank holiday weekend, I think we might do something. We did music the last time. We might do films this time. Not sure. Telly and films, maybe. But we'll do something because it's a bank holiday weekend. And then on bank holiday Monday night, it's like a Sunday anyway, so we can get back to the serious stuff and the stuff that we need to have adult conversations around. We'll do that on Monday. So thank you for your likes. Thank you for your subscriptions, your ongoing support. But most of all, Thank you for your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen. This is the Theatre of the Mind. That was live number 223. Wherever you go, whatever you do, stay safe, please. Always have emergency Battenberg. The altar wine, if you want to take a little snifter with you. It is getting cold, so it might just warm up the cockles. And remember, the Theatre of the Mind is not a show. It's a mission. And the mission continues Sunday, 7:30. Enjoy a couple of days off from my ranting. There might be other stuff coming because we are working on stuff and planning stuff. But this is a mission, and we will go again Sunday, 7:30. See you then.